Be careful about what you say, you know.
Yeah.
Be careful. You know, I want to say to you, Mr. Duke, while it's unfortunate that some people live that way and it is in need of being corrected,
Mhm.
it should not have been in existence in 2022. And while I think he has a very good point and I cannot fault him for that,
Mhm.
you see that Baden Pat as a leader?
Oh Lord.
Watson, he came on our show a number of times and we treated you as a
Yes.
serious man. And we felt when you attempted to swim from Tobago to Trinidad, I said that would have stayed with the people's minds. Even if you didn't make the whole journey, they
Hmm.
would always remember your effort.
Hmm.
I want to tell you, that one is a lot more decent
Hmm.
and purposeful than how some people operate by standpipe bathing.
Mhm.
I can't go as fast to say, Mr. Duke, if you're going to do it the way some do it, not all,
Mhm.
that that would assist you in seeing it the way they see it. You don't have to engage in every single and particular thing that everyone does to understand how they see something. You can eat what they eat. You can sit on what they sit,
Yeah.
you know, and you'll get the pickup. You also say you want to be in the room, I think, to live where gunshots passing. Just partnering for that and hit dog the arm.
Yeah.
Well, I
Uh,
wish you luck. I wish you luck.
yeah.
In terms of a launch, I think it was a good launch. It
Hmm.
wasn't a great launch, but it wasn't a bad launch. I think
Right.
out of a general election on several months in advance of a local government election, I think it was well attended. I
Mhm.
think it was a good launch, and we had to watch it and see how it goes from there.
Yeah.
But I think in general, I saw Iowa George.
Hmm.
In the
Iowa?
people, I was one of the artists there, but he
Oh,
didn't just sing alone. I
yeah.
will, in other words, urge the crowd, if you're supporting Duke, you support Duke. You know, I think he said something, you know, to stop the people from suffering.
Hmm.
Iowa George,
Yeah.
interesting stuff.
Interesting. Very, very
I
interesting.
tell you. Then he ended by telling them, whatever you all doing, I admire that piece. I
Yeah.
really appreciated that, Iowa. That's why I remember it. He
Mhm.
said, whatever you all are doing, put God first.
Right.
Always, always. Thank you, Iowa, for that.
Hmm.
Thank you very much for that.
Mhm.
So, how would the election play out in this country? Could this be the makings of another ILP? You remember ILP almost took the country by storm? Jack Warner had people running for cover, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, our political leader to take the platform and say, you ain't seen he, you ain't seen that one with the black lipstick. When you have a leader of the dominant party, you have to look away from the dominant opponent to turn in your direction. It tells you how impactful what you are doing is. And I don't know if this too would happen to Duke, but I would say the two dominant parties. Now he said something,
Hmm.
also, Mr. Duke. He spoke about it's in the papers, you know, I read that. He said the leaders, the two of them in the dominant party, he was talking about Dr. Rowley and
Yes.
uh, Mrs. Bissessa,
Yeah.
that senior counsel, Mrs. Bissessa, he
Mhm.
was talking about both of them, and he said both of them past 70 years
Yeah.
of age. He said they should be home with their great grandchildren,
Yeah.
giving them nestums. Say this battling no longer for them. They gone past the time when, in other words, all they had all the time, all they made, all they run, all they did the best. What will come now? What will come? What to fall? That's Duke's position. 2228255. I start in there. They almost. Do you believe the two leaders of the two dominant parties in the country, you know, according to Watson Duke, should be home feeding Nestum? I think he said that's a milk, right? Daddy Mac?
Yeah, I'm here too, Richard.
Yeah, that's a milk, right? Nestum. That's a question, Daddy Mac. Hello?
Yeah, Richard, I'm here with you. Go ahead.
No, I'm asking you a question. Hello? Is Nesta
Yeah,
milk?
Richard, I'm here with you. I'm here with you. Just have to.
Is Nesta milk?
Yeah. Nesta.
Is that milk?
Yeah, it's a milk for children, babies.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know. So I guess that's why he used that term. I've seen that on television before. I'm certain about that.
Yes.
So I think that was clever to select something like that, that just the way everybody could connect with.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
When you're communicating with people, the language is very important, you know.
Very.
They should home feed and nest them to the great, not the grandchildren, you know, the great grandchildren.
Yes.
Mr. Duke, I think you fired some major low blows. Yeah, I think you did. But I want to test some of what you said. 2228255. Daddy Mac, open the line, see if we get some people and find out, first of all, if they think the two leaders, because they're in their 70s or beyond it, if they should be home feeding Nesta milk to their great grandchildren.
222-8255, 612-8255, and 866-525-1099. You heard the question? Do you think the incumbent leader of the PNN, Dr. Keith Rowley, and the opposition leader, like Richard said, SC, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, at this age and stage of their political career, if they should be at home, seeing about their grandchildren and great-grandchildren and feeding them with Nestum? Give us your take, people. 222-8255, 612-8255. And of course, 866-525-1099. That's our international toll-free number. So give us a call. We're standing by waiting for your calls. He also said
Yeah, go on.
he also said that he's going to be helping people to get housing, distributing 1,000 loaves of bread in poor areas each week. Wow. I mean,
the part I felt that was good about that, it's not just the distributing of the loaves, but it was
in poor areas.
Giving the people the contract in the communities to bake the bread for the community.
That's right.
So that he's starting them off in business. I think that was quite useful, with all honesty. They know how to look in all. They're going to be one set of launches, and we have to go through them fairly. You understand?
Yeah.
You have to go through them fairly. And I'm only looking for the positives with launches. I ain't looking at nobody negative side.
That's right.
The voters go make that up. They will decide that. I'm sharing the positives alone. Isn't that fair? Right?
Of course, fair.
So the part with the loaves, giving it out is good, but people can see that as politicking, you know, bread from a vote. But when you're giving the people in the community, at one or some of them, a contract to bake the bread for all of them in the community, now that is something meaningful.
Yep.
Because you had to produce 1,000 bread and each one is about $10 a loaf. I mean, clearly that's going to turn out into something meaningful. You got to hire a lot of people who would be doing the preparing to bake, who would actually be baking in terms of putting it in the oven and that kind of thing. You may need more people to engage in packaging, which is putting it in a bag and tying it and that kind of thing. And then you may need some others to engage in distribution, right? As well as the PDP said they themselves will be distributing. So I think, and what that will do, once you start making money that way and people get accustomed to your bread in the community, when this phase is done, they could just continue making bread and start open an outlet and put it there, and people now will walk to your place and buy it because they get accustomed to it.
That's right.
Right there, you set up in business. You understand? And you keep some money in your own community and help others to grow and that type of thing. So to me, he has said some meaningful things that people need to become aware of. The time where some people just look at other people as a voting bank and you just use those people to keep you in office. You know, we've been talking here for quite some time. Those times should have ended a long time ago. It's sad that some of it is still around. That is sad. Today, people should be going out there and voting for someone on the basis of what they actually, on the basis of the ideas, the vision, and the timelines that by when they're going to do what and so on. If they elected in America, they tend to hold the president down to the first 100 days in office,
Yes, of course.
which is to make sure some of the key things that cause people to go to the polls, they want to see that done in the first 100 days, not the first 500 days,
Huh.
the first 100 days, quick action. And that's what people want now. So I want to commend you, just as how he attempted to swim to Trinidad. Some would say he made it. I'm not debating that. He reached Toko, he said, right?
Mhm.
But some say he was helped by the boat and this and that. I gonna round it off. Who swam from Tobago to Trinidad? Equally, and which I felt was a huge feat, and I told you and Thomas on the show before, that going to stay in the minds of the people. That effort, whether they think he made it or not, that would stay with them, right?
Yeah.
And that would have played a profound part in that 14-1 victory in Tobago. Because this is a man who they would conclude in Tobago, because most of my family from Tobago, and I've been talking to them, and they did conclude the fact that he could do that. They believe he could fight. Remember when for James was saying they need people who would fight for them?
Yes.
Who concentrated on how they looked at the two MPs? There were people who would fight for the Tobago issues, to fight to improve Tobago. And you see a man was prepared to risk his life to swim from one island to the next, and you have no certainty about what lurks under the water, whether they're going to be lucky or not. You can get a stray shark, that is in need of a meal desperately, And that could be you, your political career, everything going down there,
Yes.
right? But he took the risk with all of that in mind. He took the risk and he went, and people wouldn't forget that. Because the first thing people would always say, would I have done that? And most of them would say no. That he considered it and then actually acted it out and did it. That would stay with people. And now with this loaf of bread thing, and what he's promising to give people houses at 300,000 or less. I mean, his track record can make people feel he could do it, because he gave out 300 houses as PSA's leader to public servants.
Right.
Right? And he said, as he told them they will get it, they got it, because that was part of the deal. And he sat there and made sure they got it to those who qualified. So people are going to look at that and remember that too, and believe that he's a man to his word. He's going to get done for the people what he say he intends to get done for them. And equally, you give him an opportunity, should he get that in Trinidad, and he fails, then you deal with him as you have dealt with others in the past. But I've been reading the papers today, though. The next side, the launch, so I'm saying, on a scale from 1 to 10, I give the launch 7.5 at this time, right? It was a 7.5 launch, which was very good for a brand new party, a party that now controls Tobago firmly. No two ways about that. And they may make some inroads in Trinidad. How far it will go, I don't know. Time will tell. But how they started and how they are sounding and what they have promised the people and what he himself has promised to do in terms of going to live. And if you bring Farley down to live in a house or two in Lavantil too, and the city chief secretary, I can tell you could see a major move towards them, because Farley's chief secretary,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see Farley stepped down by a pipe and Duke, and they decide to bid, but more clothed than how we'd find others. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that could be a major, major positive, impactful sort of thing that could stay in the minds of the people there. Now, I hope other parties don't go and send the councillors or the MPs to go and start running to stand pipe to start bidding, to tell people next thing you see by pipeline, Ja Rastafari. You see, Minister bidding and throwing the dread around, I hope we'll see that. Because Lavantil had 2 Rastas, right? Next thing you see one of them, I don't know. Next thing you see one of them, I'm doing that. I want to say, folks, you don't need to. That's Mr. Duke's style. What you all should do is to find another way. Many roads lead to Rome, It's which one you choose. Some can get you there quickly, some may not, some may take a little longer. So you could go and find someone, take a man because it look as though Farley 7 days, Duke is 7 days, and they swept Tobago, short one. It appears as though the politicians felt, wait, now the 7 days Adventist people changed their mind from the PNM to South Party and go on PDP. You know what they did? They take up one who fought in Tobago, who's a 7 days, and make him a senator. So, no, he might be good senatorial material, you know.
Yeah.
But that is not the way you try to align yourself with people issue. They didn't vote for Duke and them as they did because they are 7 days.
That's right.
That might have been a part of it. The bigger part of it is that they were concentrating on the people. Their messages were designed to deal directly with the people, not the infrastructure and those types of issues. They were in all the small streets. We saw it. I've been across there. They've been in all, and while the dominant, our party, big truck in the road, only in the main roads, you know. You know, like you hear a song, and that was a song to call it to order. If you know what I mean, once you hear the song, know the time has come, get yourself ready. Get yourself ready to move to the pole, whether on a skateboard, a surfing board, a bicycle. You had to run, you had to crawl. You remember when you hear the song, head to the pole, those days gone.
Yeah.
And that's how the campaign last time in Tobago. One set of money, millions of dollars, massive trucks, you know, and a few people behind them. And it was a party throughout, you know.
Yeah.
Tobagonians went for something of a more substantive nature that could have impacted their lives, that could see people getting employment. They listened to those speeches, not to give the people an opportunity to see if this new administration would be able to achieve at least 15% of what I promised. You know, when politicians promise here, they tend to exaggerate. Listen, they hyperbolize on hyperboles. That's the tell. They over exaggerate what I had to say. So when they gave the list of what I promised, if you get 10%, I plenty.
Yeah.
And you don't ever get that. Here, people waiting to see if Farley and Duke would give them at least 10 or 15% of what I promised. And I'll tell you, if they should get there, it could be a spot of butter for us in future elections, if you know what I mean. Because often you make those promises. So right down here is about cardboard factory. Where's the address of the factory, Daddy Mac?
Say that again?
Just as an example, we have promised cardboard factory. Where we could find it, where is the address?
Well, I don't know about that cardboard factory. I know they were promising the folks in
the plyboard.
Plyboard, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
where's the address for that company? For the factory.
Nothing ever happened. It was just something spoken about on the platform.
Wasn't that one of the big things down in the southern side?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. That's the point I'm making. How I remember it. I say, wait, that sounds nice.
Yeah, some people still talk about it.
Building things, you're doing all kind of thing. You need plyboard for all kind of things, not so?
Yeah.
If you could really build a plyboard factory, that will hire a lot of people who are to participate in the making of the plyboard, not so?
Of course.
And then hardwares all over the country will buy plyboard from it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a factory. And I felt it was a brilliant idea, but was it delivered?
No,
yeah, you from the southern side telling me no. I didn't know you just come.
It was just spoken about.
Yeah, no, it hasn't happened.
Sun wasn't even turned.
And this is what people have come to expect from some politicians. It's a sad situation. And that's why I say there's a huge opening in our country for a third force to come and blow everything away. That's why Jack Warner almost succeeded, you know. His time was short. If he had resources and constituencies, the makeup of the parliament today could have been very different, you know.
Yeah.
Very, very different because momentum was with the Green Man, right? Both UNC and PNM had a spot of butter. Actually, the first time I think the UNC and PNM worked together was against the Green Man, you know. I know. Because while on our side we are saying, watch him, listen to him with your black lipstick. On the other side, they were saying, you can't trust him. They stopped cussing us, we stopped cussing them. But both of us tackling the Green Man. I tell you. So Jack Warner, he really produced something that took the country by storm. It just didn't work out that way, and that's because lack of human resource, lack of resources in the constituencies, and so on. As Mr. Pandey said, with the momentum he had, if he was Jack, he'd go for the whole hog. Try to win all.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Because it looked as though he was going to get there. Right? And just look at the whole situation of the ILP. That tells you there are people who are willing to step away from what they have always been aligned and attached to attach themselves to a new vehicle, a new political vehicle that could help them solve the problems of this country. You can't be spending all this money every year on crime. Madness. Billions of dollars, you know, man.
Yeah.
People have become billionaires in this country off of the crime budget alone, you know.
Yeah.
Billionaires, right? And crime has not improved in terms of the numbers going down. The criminality has not decreased, and if it did, significant enough for us to feel it. So if it dropped by 5 people this year, it was 5 people less who got robbed compared to last year.
Yeah, imagine that.
How you go feel that? As far as you're aware, don't rest on anything. Be careful what you walk with. Robbery could occur at any moment. And the more money you point it, is the more and more criminality increases. So where the money going?
Yeah.
I want to submit today that the money is going to the hands of those who promise to help the situation, but they don't. They come up with ideas like some of that money is taken to give the said people who engage in the criminal activity to do it more and do it in a different way, so that they could count now and say, well, that was for that, but they switch over to this, you know, so we need this now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then the government paused the money for that and been doing that annually. So now you probably have over between 2000 and now, the government might have spent close to $500 billion on national security alone, you know.
Yep.
Close to what I'm saying, they didn't do that. Check it out, right? Could be plenty of money. When you can have $10 billion a year set aside, I mean, that's a lot of money. And if you get there, I want to believe at least $250 billion. $250 billion. They will reduce it to that. Just in to fight crime. And this is not just under the Ministry of National Security, you know. Some of the money is poured into education. You have to calculate that too. For the purpose to fight off crime, to educate more people. Then you have to calculate the billions that go into the special programs, right? Because that is to prevent people also from committing crime. And when you go through all of the ministries that are doing something, sports, the amount that go into sports to try to attract people to involve themselves in different things in order to pull them away from a life of crime. All of that is the crime budget. So when you work it out on an annual basis, the budget for crime alone could be very close to $20 billion. 10 directly under the Ministry of National Security, and the other 10 from different ministries that had to play some kind of role, right? There's plenty of money to fight crime, and yet still the dent that we all hope to see in crime, it hasn't happened. And here's what the reality is. The basic things that most people know that must be done in order to deter people from crime by giving them other opportunities. I will be deterred from crime, I believe, if I'm a criminal, but I am given something that is, you know, meaningful to do based on your skill set. And again, a fair pay for it. Why not getting a fair pay, you can take care of your family and so on, you go want to consider crime? It's a place to build from. You get money, you can try to start a little business, and then one business could lead to 2, and before long you can have a group of companies. You follow what I'm saying? Doing different things, and you and your family set as you push forward, and then they create openings for your family to get jobs in the future, right? So with one good job could help you do all of that. So that if you know that is the situation, most people would drop crime, drop the consideration of crime, drop the contemplation of going into crime, and pursue something once they have, regular income coming in, or certainty income coming in at a fixed time every month. They will take that direction instead, unless you definitely have just this propensity to commit crime. And then the law will deal with you. If you really have this joy to bring hurt to people by robbing them, or whatever else in crime, or taking some money and you go and execute somebody for that, that's a different group of people. The law would deal with them. I'm talking about especially youngsters who could easily be ensnared into going and do wrong for a few dollars. You give them opportunities, they may not see the need to accept money to do wrong, right? And that will help move people forward. But those things have not been done. And those are some of the basic things that I'm talking about that could help. Because if you were putting out before, more to help people get jobs, to help the wives of some homes get some reasonable jobs to help in the upkeep of the home. Wherever the man is doing, the wife still has some money to take care of the children in terms of feeding them. It puts less strain on him, so he don't have to come home and hear children crying for food. He might much better prepared to hear, we had to get some money soon to buy books. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a better thing for a person who may not have the full-blown type of self-development as a father in a house to deal with, to hear that we need money soon for books, rather than they come through the door, children crying and talking about food. You need milk, you need rice, you need meat, you need oil, you need gas, And when they go like, then they tell you, we had the gas on the stove and working. I mean, that frustration, major frustration, as simplistic as it may sound to some people, it is a huge thing for some other people. And this is what you find parties like Duke, the PDP, been concentrating on, to move people away from that, trying to give them a bread, and then you are seeking to empower them to become bakers, which means that's a job, that's a contract, that is employment. Yep. You understand? That is wealth down the road. That's a good start. But the dominant parties, these ideas seem not to mean or matter much to them, because in their minds, the voters, they believe they already have them wrapped up. So even if they're suffering for basic things, the thinking is they will get you that on their own however they could. When we need them to vote, we'll get them to vote. You follow what I'm saying? We don't have to do that. We don't have to go and take care of no food to make sure they eat. Once they're alive, they will vote for us on election day. That's almost where it reaches, Once they're alive, a hit song, a jersey, and a big flag. Remember we did a show on that?
Yeah.
That's enough. They are thinking that's enough when they need them to get them to come and vote. Yeah. And then they throw a little race in there by using us and them. We don't operate like them, and they don't like us. And then people drop every other issue. They have to throw away those issues. Those issues must be viewed as absolutely non-issues going forward. There are no issues. The issue is how you feel in your home. If each person in their home pursue a course of action to improve their family lives, and all should operate in such a way, they'll be in a much better place in a shorter space of time. But when they leave you feeling hungry, have you living on promises, and you believe in whenever that promise comes true, it's like you make it, but the promise just never coming. It doesn't matter what you do and how close you get it. You never get in there. And from the moment you get vexed with them, they tell you, look at what you do is tomorrow you're going to get,
Yeah.
Tomorrow, you just throw away all of that. You have to get fed up of politicians like that. And if you decide to stay cool right through, and the election come, they tell you, boy, as we win, we're doing that fair. Because outstanding long, Yeah. I don't know why that wasn't done. You sure why didn't come to me and let me know? No. As we went back, come to me one time. And then again, everybody working hard again, thinking this is it. And then they lost. They had you waiting for 10 years. Now they tell you vote for them to give them 15 years and they're going to make sure and get something which might only come up to about 40,000 over 20 years. So for some of those people, ask to such small things, and that's what you did to the people. And you tell yourself you're clever and you were smart. The same people who came out and bend their backs and take the rain and suffered themselves in the sun and fought off the elements to make sure and get in the election booth, to cast their vote, to put you so you can live an unimaginable life. That same person who did all that heavy lifting to get you in, when he got you in, you change your phone number, turn your back and say, "Let us suffer is all to catch me now." You understand? And that's how they operate. That's how they think. And I can tell you that because I know them like that. No two ways. I know them. I, Richard Noray, know them. Many of them like that. As they when they change your cell, as they when I was talking to one time, and somebody called him. He said, "Oh gosh, I still had a number. You know about it, and you had to change it. Yes, you didn't change it right there. That's the number he was using all the time with the constituents. You know. One, he had another SIM card to put in the phone, and he forgot to change it. But when he got a call from somebody who he thought he no longer had to communicate with, that was a reminder to him to change it. No, he changed it right there in front of me. Right? You think it's easy? And I look at these people there, and I say, but who is it? How you could? I mean, all them people who had the number, you just took out your phone, who would now be calling here to fulfill some of what you've been telling them. How would you be able to them to communicate with you now? And I stopped there. We had that conversation. You know the thing? Nah, I will set up something in the office. They will talk to the secretary and she will pass it on to me. But I can't afford to get all them calls now. We have work to do, and there's a lot of work in it. That's all right. All right. And I can tell you that was a system designed to suffer the said people you were begging and liming with all the time just to get a vote. And it got away business. The people who did not vote for you, the people who did not support you, the people who didn't care whether they win or lose, you know, and you win, they're the ones you're going around. They're the ones you're spending all the quality time with. They're the ones who have very little or no problem, and you there as a member of parliament trying to find out what problem they have for you to help them, who did not help you. But you know, you have thousands of people who you know right at that moment need your intervention and help for matters that really affecting them directly, but you will never show up. People have a right to get rid of politicians like that, and you know them. You only see them when it's election time. See some of them playing the other day. You see, I tell you, watch out. You know, you see some coming to play cricket and soccer, but you all know wearing cut-up jeans, short jeans, and sneaker. That's a trap. They don't live like all here. That's a trap, right? They will dress like that the night before, and they ask the advisors how I look. I look like one of them. That's how they dress. Yeah. You shall look bad, yeah. And then they walk out in that tomorrow pretending like that how they are every day. That's not how they are. Go to Maraval. Take some of you, take a group of you all. Go to Maraval and see where they go for breakfast. Right? See how they talk and how they behave. For example, when you all had heard about, you remember when Imbert had spoken about the riot yet, I think?
Yeah.
What the Prime Minister said about that? You remember?
No, I can't remember. No, I can't remember.
We use that, I think, to bad bedside manners.
Yeah, yes. That's it. I remember.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Now, what the ordinary man know about having manners for bedside? To know if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
They didn't even know anything about bedside manners. And if they don't know that, how they gonna know when it's good or bad? So who he was talking to then? Not the ordinary man, you know. He was talking to the rich people who might have taken also umbrage for the statement. To use the language to appeal to them. Said bad bedside manners. So they laugh. You know, they know. The ordinary man can understand that. But here what? The ordinary man now, some of them so pretensive, very sad to say that, some of them will act like they understood what he meant. You follow what I'm saying? But it was only or mainly to resonate with the rich in society. who will talk about bedside manners and all. You know what's bedside manners, Daddy Ma?
Yeah, I know, no, I know. I always used to hear about it, but I never.
Me too.
It was
I
never.
heard about it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first time I heard it. I heard it. I heard my mom talk. I heard my grandparents talk about it too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is because I can tell you they never demonstrated that to me.
That's right.
That's how I learn. I'm going as far as to say that. I don't know what it is, and I mean that. Right? So, tell us what was meant by that. But you see, that was the strategy there.
Yeah.
And that's what continues to happen to the small man. And that's why, you know, people, so many who have been hurting, sometimes you see when they have these outbursts, it comes across so disturbing when it happens.
Yeah.
Simply because they were choking all the time. They were choking. And this is not shocking because I'm saying this. Don't fault the politician. Because the people have allowed politicians to get away with that for too many decades.
I tell
So
you.
the politicians now are conditioned by that type of behavior. That's what's happened. So when we come back after the news, we're going to take some opening line.
We don't the news is now set for 6 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock.
Okay, so what would happen is that when you hear some politicians saying what they're saying and doing what they're doing and how they're doing it, what happens is they're already fixing their ways, which means they're in business.
That's right.
They're in business with what the people think. They're in business with how the people feel. They're doing it their way. That's what they're going to do. Their way. That's how it's going to be done. And that's the beginning and end of that. And they could operate that way, they could think that way, and they could come across correct in that regard simply because no one has called them out on it. Look at the gas price, the hike in it.
Yeah.
What you could say, and inviting people to march and come out with your pot and spoon and beat it. Like some kind of
New Zealandish.
Yeah, like some kind of primitive.
Yeah. No, it's not primitive, you know. Some of these places in South America, you see them doing that. Chile and Peru and Colombia. When they're protesting, they come to their windows and stuff with their pots and spoons and thing, and they make a lot of noise.
Yeah. But although it may a song to be primitive, it could be highly effective, you know.
Of course, yeah.
It could be highly effective. and you just have to wait and see. And I'm telling you all, this thing gonna have some serious if it continues. If the real issues on the ground are not meaningfully addressed between now and that election, which I don't think that it had enough time for it to be addressed in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
I am seeing a spot of bother for us again. I'm seeing that again. And we have to do some things right. First thing we have to do in our organization is get all hands back on deck. Because the amount of people in our party who want to see what happened in Tobago happened in Trinidad. I'm telling you,
I wouldn't doubt that.
PNM people, I'm telling you, who want to see such a sweep in Trinidad. And I'm saying the party at this time should be looking to concentrate on consolidating, to pull those people back in the party.
Yeah.
Because we need to make sure that the one thing that must never happen is the value of our political name falling by the wayside. That name, the PNM, must always represent something in this country. It has already done enough to always represent something. But it's strange how you could support people all their life, like in Gypsy song. And from the time things turn against you, how people cheer and stand up in you and want to bury you. You can't allow that to happen. And I'm saying the type of feeling that is on the ground, the way some people feel, if certain things are not done between now and then, we could be in for a rude awakening. It may not be an awakening again, you know, because we had to have been awakened with what happened in Tobago.
Exactly.
Unless we are lovers of sleep. So I think we were already awakened by what happened in Tobago. And we need to find out where we went wrong and what we did wrong that caused us to end up where we went wrong. We need to know that so we could fix that here before we have a repeat. Because I want to say if we have such a repeat, you're looking at a complete blowout next general election. That will not be a good thing for this country. It will not be a good thing. And I don't think anyone would want to be the person who's the standard bearer for the party. And after what the party suffered in Tobago, which was not only, how I should say, a terrible defeat, you know, that we got across there, but it was a shameful one. It was a shameful defeat. It's no other way. You had to face it. It was as humiliating as you could possibly think about it. It was an ignominious defeat. Listen, it was forcefully humbling. It was an absolute rejection. The fact that we had to recount a seat, you know, which is the only one we won.
I tell you.
And there's a party that we had just defeated in the general election, you know. And they reassembled and came in the THA. They won 6-6 in the same year. We didn't share with them. And then we said, no, instead we add on 3 new seats to make sure you can never have a tie again. And we call it 12 months later. And almost suffered what you'll call in cricket a whitewashing.
Yeah.
So it was ignominious, which means devastatingly shameful, highly unexpected. That is like an ant going into a wrestling match with a giant cockroach. One ant. And then when they look in the ring, the ant hitting the cockroach, massive judos, you know. Breaking the cockroach wing, pulling off the leg. And have it on it back with white flag saying it's surrender. You understand? An ant. That's what happened.
Yeah.
They held on to us. We were like Goliath. And David entered the ring and completely humiliated us. It was the type of licking, the likes we had never seen before under any leader in the PNM. We had never experienced this before. So it was shameful. It was more than humbling. It was forcefully humbling. And I'm saying that to say, surely, come on. We got the message, so we don't need to be awakened again. Are we now pursuing policies to invite that outcome into Trinidad? I had to say it the way I did, so those in power would understand how we felt when we saw what happened. I was speaking in Tobago over the weekend. Farley was there in the same thing where we spoke.
Yeah.
And I had to tell him and all of them that while I supported what the people in Tobago did, because it is good to stand up where it's necessary, where I believe for the moment change is necessary, I had to remind them that we remain focused, we remain resolute to the next opening, and we will fight them, as the great late Patrick Manning said, we'd fight them in the east, we'd fight them in the west. But you don't have to be nasty about it, right? You don't have to go and look to try to convince people to vote for us on the basis of us selling dirt on other people. If we start winning election only on the basis of selling dirt on people, we are no better than the people we selling the stuff about. So people would know they elected us knowing we are only a different kind of dirt people. That's all. When we ought not to be in the dirt at all. Our party has always been one that was intellectually strong and win the hearts and minds of people in this country on the basis of the vision, the ideas, and what we're going to do for the people of this country and how we're going to improve it. But above and beyond all else, what we will do for all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Why hasn't that been done now? People who look like you and me, Daddy Mac, they are suffering today in a way that they have never imagined possible.
Yeah.
And then you raise gas price on them, which is going to raise every other thing on them.
And Israel.
And we here before, all the increase going and stop one place on the shoulders of the poor. The businessmen not absorbing that increase in gas prices. And therefore they're not absorbing the increase in transportation costs. They're not doing that. They will pay it, but ask them how they're recovering it. They're going to raise the prices of the goods and services.
Exactly.
And sometimes by far more than the increase. So they're happy for the increase because you give them a justification to raise the price. And when they go by and say, it's not me, you know, it's the government.
Yeah.
But you know, when the poor man buy a service or they buy a good, they don't have nobody to sell it to, eh? So it can't go any further. So who you really raise it against? Not the middle class, not the rich, the poor. And you know when you were raising it against the poor. Then why did you do it? You didn't put one measure in place to prevent the businessman from passing it on.
Yeah.
You didn't even mount a political rally to go around the country to tell businessmen, if you do it, this will happen. You understand? You just raise it and you say raise it and then close the door. And you know who's going to have to take that hit. How you can do that to the poor?
You think all of that is going to create a division in the PNM? Or is it creating a division already?
I don't know if these things creating a division, and I want to discuss our internal affairs, but all
I mean, there are a lot of people on the ground who are talking that kind of talk now because they too.
I said earlier on,
there
are a lot of PNM people I know, plenty, they call me, you know, who call and they're hoping for what happening to Big what happening in Trinidad.
Yeah.
And I am here saying what I've told them, I don't want to see that. I want to see us stand up and fight that off.
Yeah.
But how we can fight it off if we just sit down here and try to tell people all is well? It ain't. And in order to fight it off, yeah, not just talk about it and raise it, you also want to say how we can fix it. And the way I propose for us to fix it is to call all them same people who calling me and get them to pledge hands on deck. But you know, get them to come just so.
That's right.
Start to do stuff for them. Stop the lip service. In other words, stop the nonsense talk. Let us stop let those in charge stop annoying the people of Trinidad and Tobago with this stupid talk and start to actually do meaningful things for the small man to help him move forward, to help him improve his life, to help him improve his family's life, to help give them better opportunities, to help create openings for their children so they could study here or abroad, to help their children become better than their current parents because of the said opportunities, to help restore respect to parents in their own homes. But when you're using their parents and you're squeezing them, all you're trying to do is continue a negative line, because when they realize you reaching a point where they ain't gonna need you no more, they come in your house, you know. Because they realize this election, you look weak, your energy level was low.
Yeah.
I want to visit here. And I say, hey, look, sonny, son.
Yeah.
Go to party and help us the way father always help us. You know what they're doing there?
Yeah.
With their wicked selves.
Yeah.
They're trying to mama guy sonny's son. to come out and become only what Sonny was to them, a laborer, a slave. Would you like somebody, those politicians, for somebody to enter the house and tell their children that type of foolishness? And that's what they do. And that's what we must reject. And that's why I always say here, and I'm sure you could attest to that, I do not talk to the politicians here. Who I talk to?
People.
The people. I am talking to the people. And if I'm talking to the people about those who are hurting you all, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking to you about what they are doing to you. And I'm also talking to you about how you should react to what they are doing to you and what they continue to try to do to you. We must stop it. You must break that foolish line. Put your hand up.
Yeah.
Say no. And look at your children. Look at them right now. Look at them. How small they are. You love them. Cute. Pretty. Handsome young children you have there. If you really love them, tell them you will not be moved by a hit song, a flag, and a jersey again. Tell them that. In the interest of your children, teach them that you as a parent today, stop that foolishness. If it doesn't make sense, then it can't be good. For it to be good, it must make sense. Not so?
Of course.
And some would tell if it's not making sense, then it's nonsense.
Yeah. It must be a language that these people can understand also.
Yeah. If it's not making sense, why put on a jersey? Why burn out the little energy in yourself and go running behind trucks and all? Let's get squeezed and all. Sometimes the truck gone over your foot. And for 5 years after, you have a foot problem. But those that cause you to get your foot injured, they never come and look for you one day. They never go to the hospital to make sure you get proper medical care. They forget you. And then somebody telling me, here, this one leg, like they're going to amputate it. They say, oh God, really? Oh gosh, that's so sad. That's so sad. Shocked. Hey, bring some water there for me now. Who that one here to see? You know, done with that talk.
Yeah.
They done with that talk. That's what you would. That's what you would. But it's your leg you're trying to save, you know.
Yeah.
You all are dealing with some of the most selfish people this country has ever seen politically.
I know.
I'm telling you all that. This is the most selfish group that I have ever seen that had its hands on power in this country. It's all for themselves. You will tell me after 7 years, you can help a few people, boy. All you can do is throw out negativity to them. And for 7 years, they have you living like a king. And gas prices going up. And before you tell them, things that doesn't mean, you know, but hear what it means at least. While it doesn't mean what you think it means anymore, it does mean some of what you think it means, which is we could slacken the belt just a little. Costing us a lot on fuel because we're still subsidizing, and as the price goes up, we have to pay more. But the good news is we still make a lot more when the prices go up. So we want the price to keep going up. We go pay the extra money in the subsidy, and we could slacken the belt here or there. At least we can start back giving more scholars, more scholarships. You follow what I'm saying? We can start back giving a little bit more gate. What that means, it helps more families. But instead of you go with that little piece of positive news, what you going to tell the people now? They see oil prices going up. Another message of gloom and doom. So people putting you in a position to live happy and free and for the world, you know, and take care of your family and your friends. And you are giving them in return as a trade-off. You take all the good and then you turn around and you feed them with everything that is bad. That's a good trade-off to you. It's a good trade-off. It's a good trade-off. Well, if the people accept that, then they deserve what they're getting. But those who rejecting it, I say to them, you're wise, you're smart, because your life is not less than any of them in office. Your life is not less than any of theirs. So then why you should allow them to make you feel like your life is less? And I want to tell you, even if they make you feel that way, the only problem there is you allowing yourself to fall in agreement with them, you know. They could try to make you feel that way. It's your job over your own life to let them know, don't come around with that foolish talk. Take that foolishness and put it somewhere else. Ask a particular individual where he said the monkey just put in nuts. Tell them, go there and put that story there. Or Skippy would say, get that story to dog. All right? That's what is required. 222-8255.
Yeah.
Let's
So join us at 612-8255 and 866-525-1099. Let's hear what you think. What's wrong? Why are people in court?
Yeah. Well, sometimes when they hear this kind of piece, they feel it's hard to digest it in. But it had to be done for them to hear. Do you think the country is becoming ready for a different political, I don't want to say revolution, but certainly a different political approach to the problems in the country, which may require different people? Our party, the only good news I could say right now flowing from it, and we'll take any piece of good news, is that the leader said he's not running again in 2025.
Right.
Right? I support him to run now because he's the prime minister and he still had 3 more years or so in office as prime minister. I want to put it on record at this time. He say he going, and I accept that he is going. So that is a plus, because what it means is that more than likely, we're going to have somebody new to lead the party into the next general election. And let me open the line 2 on that. Would it be a good thing to have a different leader in 2025 for the PNM? 222-8255. But the key part to discuss here today is what we have to do in our party to prevent a whitewash in this country. We need to call all our colleagues and get their hands back on deck to fight off, because this ain't gonna be easy, you know. And I tell you, I seen this size and this shaping up to be a year protest, you know.
Yeah, I have a call on the line. Mr. Felix, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you guys.
Good afternoon.
Yes, we definitely need new faces, but it's just gonna be new faces. It must be people who genuinely care about the people of the country and working towards alleviating their problems. And yes, it is possible that PNM could lose very badly in the general elections, you know. Once the coalition forces come together in a real way and put aside petty egos and so on, and choose a leader that is really willing to work for the people. And finally, with respect to the children home and the horrors that we are hearing in this latest report, you know what is sad about that? This is not the first time we're hearing about these children homes, you know. And it's always the same response. We're going to investigate, we're going to write reports, we're going to do this, we're going to try to put measures in place, and it's the same nonsense.
Exactly.
As I always ask my question, I don't think governments are really in office to solve any problems, you know. Because if you check in the 80s, the problems we have in the 80s with lights, water, roads, and so on, it still exists. So this mama guy thing with we go in and investigate and we want to see what measures we could put in place and all kind of nonsense with respect to children home, this is not new. This has been going on for a while without any real consequences. So who are they fooling? Take care, guys.
Thank you, my brother. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, bro.
Mr. Richards, defending the geriatric because it didn't have nobody else to put in the party. I thought you said you have a specific person in mind.
No, I have said that today. I'm giving other people an opportunity. I haven't said that been withdrawn.
All right, ain't withdrawn. But you know, it's funny that since as you're saying, all the money is leaving the country and people isn't benefiting. Maybe it is difficult because if you hear the statement from the premier, the British Virgin Islands, I am an elected sitting head of state under the British system. All they have to release me, or they cannot hold me, like if he didn't break the law. So we in a system that people believe because they are in position, they are protected, and they continue doing, and people continue doing the same thing. And the sad part about it, the people who is not benefiting feel that that is the case, that is how things happen, and you can't do anybody anything. But the problem is, who will stand to start to do what is necessary? You understand? Because I watching this thing. First of all, here what went on. You shot somebody, you blame the other person, and then one set of overtime, 50 policemen, so much soldiers, nobody is speaking about this. People want to get paid. You know how much resources was waste because somebody gave up false information, and nobody, and you ain't no talk about that. You understand? No talk. So where the accountability comes in, where does the mediocrity stop and accountability for the services that is being paid for by people, and people just living happy-go-lucky and how it swing, and just now don't forget that. Like I said, Saturday morning I lie down. I get up about 4 o'clock. I say, let me just take back a lie down. Bam, 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 bam. About 15 gunshots, I jump out of my bed, and I telling myself after, I should just forget that and continue to live like it never happened. And this is what has been going on in this country for the longest while, and we're not going anywhere. Well, enjoy your evening.
Thank you, my brother. Well, I too hear a lot of talk on the ground. That ain't so nice where the PNM is concerned at all. You know,
Where you been here?
They are fed up. They are fed up, and a lot of talk about the Watson Juke Party. They want to see what will happen with the Watson Juke Party. When people think like that, it means that they're listening to Watson Juke, you know. And I think the kind of pressure, especially the last 2 years, the kind of pressure, instead of the heads come forward and, you know, come down more to the ground and find out what's happening, because a lot of people were hurting during that. They're still hurting post those 2 years. And it seems like nobody don't care, you know. They just keep on keeping on, and a sort of excuses for negligence and non-action. You know, they have kind of fancy things they're saying when they don't do what they're supposed to do. You know, I listen to the sports minister and stuff and think, I say, well, what is going on here? Good afternoon. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good afternoon, mister.
Good evening to Noray and Dalmac.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Hello.
Welcome to Napuna.
Okay.
This gentleman is going nowhere.
Which gentleman?
The leader is going nowhere.
Who are you speaking about?
The political leader of the party that Noray was speaking about, and going nowhere.
You think
Remember in 2015, we had something called Emailgate. Remember in 2020, we had something called Banana. Well, hear what's going on in 2025. We have something called chicken leg. We come in with that, and it's going to be the same thing over and over again. Whether gas go up 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, whether who's the master, whether who's the house slave, it doesn't matter with the supporters of these people. They're going to put him back in power again. They don't care. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother. Well, that too is very obvious, you know. I mean, I see that wrong way where I live, you know. I tell you about my water situation. I tell you about the roads. Well, the recreation grounds, I see they clean up a couple, because I know local election is coming up. That's the only reason. The community center is being reconstructed, but I don't see it impacting on any upswing to the people in the area lives, or the kind of service that they're looking forward to. You know, that is just happening because they know, especially in my area, they know they don't have to work harder now. What that guy just said is a reflection of the people in my area, you know. They will solidly put that person back in power based on what that should be based on. a kind of blind support. They know that the area is under serious pressure. I mean, it's one of the most depressed areas in Trinidad and Tobago. But don't say anything that will upset them where that is concerned. They'll tell you, They'll tell you, hey. Just this weekend, I was asking that guy, okay, so you are all for the PNM. Are you comfortable with that sort of representation in this area? Let's talk about this area where you and I live. All right, let's talk about this area. And an ignorant sort of response was given. Like it's something like I am PNL till I did, and they can't do nothing wrong. Case closed. So I said, I don't think you and me should have any more of this conversation because you haven't even answered me, to hear where I'm coming from. And I am not under any banner. And like you said earlier on, the majority of people who are not red or who are not yellow is in the majority. That's a bunch of people in the majority. Anytime, let's say the PDP or Gary Griffith's new party, or if it's a coalition, anytime that percentage of people say, I am going to give these new people a chance, that's it with red and yellow, because they are in the majority. One time I was listening and they were saying that it's about 33 to 35% of the people who are not, you can't blow their mind and say, well, the red or the yellow. They are not under those banners at all. And that could create the upset. I think back in 86, that was the catalyst of what happened. And sometimes there are some people who, some of my friends or the people who I talk to in the area, they come and they will raise a conversation with me, hoping that I come here and expand on it. You understand what I'm saying? I do that all the time where the pitch lake is concerned, where the lake asphalt is concerned, where the sporting facilities are concerned, where Labre in general is concerned. I am willing to say all what I see, not being afraid of who yellow or red, because I'm neither of the above. And the majority of people who could change things are in this group. Some of them are so fed up, they won't vote. I might go against. Well, I reach in that group, Richard. It has, somebody had to really show me that they're going to make a real change within my community for I to think about voting for anybody. Because I can't go and vote in the next constituency. So whenever I say it's for my constituency, my community, my village. You understand? I live between the people and I see they hurting me bad enough. Yeah. I'm so ready, partner. I tell you the Richard.
You have representatives down there, Daddy Mac.
Yeah.
And other parts of this country.
Yeah.
They ain't getting no money to do anything. And the only reason they ain't getting no money to do anything is because the government want people to feel they ain't have nothing.
Yeah.
So now what happening is that they're using people. I want people to hear this, They're using ministers and other officials to tell you they ain't had nothing. This is what I tell you, is the most selfish group.
Yeah.
Because they have these other ministers who supposed to be committed to the constituents. Going to the constituents and telling the government and had nothing.
I tell you.
Say to the people, while those ministers want to talk that foolishness because they know better. And I'm going to tell you, if they don't know better, it's simply because they just love office. And they don't want to do the work a representative supposed to do. Which is to demand resources to take care of your constituents. Right? Yeah. So I want to say to those constituents, when the MP come or the minister come and tell them they ain't have no money, tell them, well, you are the wrong man to represent us.
Yeah.
Tell them that. When they say I have no money, say you are the wrong man to represent us. Because we put you in, you're in office, you're in government, and you're telling us month on month, year on year, you ain't have no money. So what you tell the Prime Minister? Where you tell the Minister of Finance? What you told them? I want you ask them when they come back and say, they didn't have no money.
Yeah.
Ask them, well, what you doing? You're my representative. And if they sit back and tell you, what you want me to do with the money? Say, well, you're the wrong man.
Yeah.
You're a man who go find money.
Hmm.
Right? Because tell them this too. I'm helping you all, you know. Watch this, watch this, watch this. This government now has spent more money than any other government in the history of this country. But from 2015 to now, they're telling you they ain't have no money. So they do all that money. When Mr. Manning had some money, you saw the transformation of Rising Road?
I tell you.
And you all saw that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You all saw the transformation of housing in the country in that period?
Mm-hmm.
Manning had far less money than the money this government spent between 2015 and now. So they can't tell you, when the MP tell you they ain't had no money, ask them, how come you have been a part of the government that's spending most money ever in the history of this country? But since you representing us, you need to tell us the government had no money. So they get all that money. Where all the money gone?
They might respond to tell people that it's the COVID. The 2 years will represent the 7.
Tell them forget COVID. Forget
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
What happened prior to COVID and what happened after COVID? Or all they get no money before COVID, right? That's what they want to tell us. You get no money before COVID. None.
Yeah.
All they didn't get no money during COVID, right? Good. And only get no money after COVID, right? That is, you all may believe that, right? Nice. Then ask them this question. Then how come you all are today being recognized as the government that spent the most money in the history of this country? Then where that money came from?
Some people are being paid for doing nothing.
That's it. And ask them if they get any cut. You know they went and take an increase, eh?
I tell you, a massive increase too.
Them all right. Down to the pension fix. You know, I was reading the papers and I saw where the Express saw some comments after Duke's launch.
Yeah.
One of the guys who they say was by a basketball court or something. Hats off to you, young guy. You know what he said? I really kind of give up on all politicians. They asked him why. He said because they only want to come into office to become millionaires.
Yes.
Ridiculous. Hats off to you, young man. Get your community to view politicians like that. They come to get rich at your expense.
Yep.
And people must call them out on it. That's why they tend to feel they get so powerful. They don't have to take 20 people against them. They say, well, much is 20? Figure them now.
Yeah.
We can bring out that 20.
Yes.
Or let's turn that 20 into 20,000. Turn that 20 into 20,000. And then you would see how they'll pay attention to you all. I'm not talking to the politician. I hope all of them listen to me. I'm talking to the people. Turn that 20 into 20,000. And you will see how they will come like little wet dogs to be all your friends and to pretend to be associating with you all.
Yeah.
They will come and try to be the crowd the crowd ASS. That's what they'll come. You know, there's a saying, right?
Yeah.
Where they call you a crowd jack. Because you see a crowd, you want to suddenly be the one to talk. They come in to penetrate and try to find a way to be one of the spokesmen in that crowd. But I'm going to tell you, when you see them come and turn the crowd and let the crowd voice roar at them. You see how fast they run? Some just run, you know. We saw 2 running before, you know. I say no more. I ain't going there. But we had to fix our party. And I'm saying this to start shaping our party for the future, to bring our party back in line with the movements in the external environment. Because while the people shifting away from us, if we don't make the shift with the people, we'll be thinking they're with us only to discover on election day what happened in Tobago, what happened here. That's not the time to figure that out, you know. We had to know that now, and therefore, what happened in Tobago wasn't a movement along the curve, you know. It was a shift. It was a shift in support. The people, the number was so huge that it became beyond that of a movement.
Yeah.
So you had to pull a whole new curve. It was a shift. And we didn't see that shift coming because we had our heads in the sand like ostrich. And we were in Tobago with some long music trucks that perhaps was annoying the people more than ever before. And as one truck passed going one way and next one headed there, they're crossing, and sometimes when they meet is the same song, is a big blowout, you know. Same party, yeah?
Yeah.
Because of that they want to know we here, we outside here. But look like people put on earplugs. Well, I mean, look at the outcome.
The people hit them the ostrich style. When they came, they put their heads in the sand.
Yeah, so we were blasting wonderful music and hit songs to ourselves. You know, I mean, come on. And therefore, we did not see the shift. And if we could have been so feeble and blind, which means we were so ineffective not to see it coming, then why should people believe what we have now is the best thing to take us forward? It means a man could have come in here with a submarine and rest some kind of nuclear bomb in Port of Spain. I tell you, it's ice cream.
Yeah.
And cause the people of the country to lose their lives. Because, I mean, if we couldn't see what was taking place in Tobago, then what could we see? What could we see if you couldn't see that? What are you capable of seeing? And I want to tell you, I think the cost of that election was higher than any other election in this country, you know? Because it was 6-6 in January. The effort that was put out was to blow away PDP completely. You understand?
Yeah.
And they pump real money into that. I think twice time what was spent for general elections was spent in that THA election. And we barely walked away with one. To get one seat, if we spend 50 million, 100 million, 150 million, just remember, that was for one seat that we barely got. The price was high, folks. Who they did not like, who they really rejected, who? Dr. Rowley's from Tobago, was it him who they rejected? I don't know, was it him who they rejected? People have to come to terms with the answer to that question between now and the conclusion of the local election in Trinidad. They didn't reject me. You know, and he himself has said that he's the #1 salesman for the country, not so?
Yep.
If you're from the same island, and the island you are from our twin island state, that island rejected the party you are the leader of. Who they rejected? But all is not lost. All is not lost. And I repeat that. We have not lost everything. We will win back Tobago again. We will. What we don't want to have to conclude at the end of this year is that we're saying we need to win back the corporations too. We don't need to be talking that. We need to be saying by the conclusion of this local election that what happened in Tobago was a one-off, and we got our act together and we were able to turn things around. And one of the ways we have to go about fixing this problem is to be able to have candid discussions. And I'm saying to our party, and in case you were closing the fridge door, when I was saying what I was saying, and you didn't hear what I said, let me repeat. I am saying to our party, reach out to those people who have been informing me over the last 5 weeks or so that we're going to get, I can't use their words, within a cut.
Yeah, I know.
And they're looking forward to it, you know,
Yeah.
to send message. I don't want the message sent like that. Any message I prefer, as I've told them to.
Yeah.
The man what is yours from the government. The governance is poor, but demand what you deserve and earn from the government. If the governance was better, what happened in Tobago would not have happened. And if the governance was better in Trinidad, what seemed to be lining up to occur would not have been so lined up, just waiting for the date for it to happen.
Yeah.
Right? So governance must be repaired. You can fix governance. Governance in and of itself is not the problem, you know. But it informs you where you are at a given time. And therefore it gives you time to make the required adjustments.
Right.
We have to adjust. If we fail to do so, folks, I want to tell you all, this is going to be the first time the PNM has been so abused by its name, the PNM, at the hands of people who claim to be PNM. Right? And if they allow that to happen to our party's good name in this upcoming elections, then they stand accused of sabotaging our party and its name. And to make sure they do not stand accused of such a thing, I am saying to them from this place today, find out where you have wronged these people and engage immediately in rectification. And I even want to add, even when you do so, the damage control may not be good enough, but any damage control will be welcomed. Do what you can. Do what you can. Because if you suffer a repeat of what happened in Tobago, I want to tell you, don't wait till 2025. Don't wait. Because if you allowed what happened in Tobago to come and allow that to be the outcome to our party in Trinidad, I too may have to take to the streets and call on you to go home sooner. Go on the trip. Go on the trip. You say have places to go and your wife for little places to go and see. I too would have to take the streets and tell you, go now in the interest of our party's name. But I don't want to do that. I find it to be a decent and wonderful individual. You have gotten some things radically and dramatically and monumentally wrong. Enough for us to turn the corner. But I am still saying, call those people in as Eric Williams did. If ego is the problem, find a way to put it under your feet. Call those people in. Get all hands on deck and try to solve this problem. As you'll be remembered for all times as the person who led the party to its lowest ever. They're already saying that what happened in Tobago.
Exactly.
And the reason they're saying that is because you from Tobago. We suffered like this before, you know. But the people, the person who was leading the party wasn't from Tobago.
That's
so
right.
you can understand. So this makes it the worst ever. Because the leader of the party at this time is also from the island of Tobago. And at the time it happened, he's the sitting prime minister. So that must make it the worst ever. And that is why it is so ignominious. But we are saying, when I say that, I mean why it's so shameful, why it is so embarrassing, why it is so humiliating. And what I'm saying is, don't allow people to have to go around the party and call on you to step down because they know what happened in Tobago and what happened later on this year in local to happen in 2025. Why go expose yourself and your family to that? When you have an easier route. You know, I used to say one of the things that Mr. Manning, the great late gentleman, suffered with that he didn't used to listen all the time.
Yeah.
It's hard to listen to every single thing everyone says. I get that. But there are some things that you cannot help but listen to. And this is one of them today. I am your friend. You don't have to be mine. So it's my choice. I chose to be your friend. I didn't ask you to be a friend. I chose to be your friend. And I'm helping you today as a friend of yours, not that you are my friend. I'm not asking you to be my friend. I chose to be yours. And I'm telling you today, from this place, take care of our party. If you allow what happened to our party in Tobago to happen to our party in Trinidad, then take this as a meaningful political warning. I've already stated, in case you all didn't hear, Daddy Mac was still doing 2025.
Yes, you'll support who you are going to support, and if that person doesn't take up the mantle, you are going to jump in the bandwagon ring.
And that's a commitment I make, and I stand by it. Win or lose, who vex loss, but to help our people, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it.
I have a call on the
whom I feel is the best to lead this country in 2025 decide that that person, for some reason, don't want to run, then I'll still work with that person and let that person pour on to me some of what I see in them and add to what I have in me for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I will carry that torch forward. But in 2025, what you will not hear is somebody or anybody going up unopposed. That ain't happening in the interest of our party going forward. Forget that. But my position is conditional. It's conditional. Let's take the call.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Noray. Daddy Mac.
Yes, good afternoon, brother.
How are you doing now?
I'm okay.
But I know the situation won't change, you know.
Yes. It won't.
It won't change because these people and them believe they have to hold on to office until they don't care. They don't care. They're coming across as heartless. The people already make up their mind and they know it too.
I tell you.
They know it. They know that the people are against them. They must hold it on until. And what are you describing there in the local government election? That is inevitable. That is inevitable. There is no change in that. There will be a loud and clear message at the dissatisfaction at the PNM in Trinidad and Tobago. Tobago already signaled that already. Every nook and cranny. Look what Watson Duke did over that period of time. Give him credit.
Yes.
I am not a Watson Duke fan, but he's been able to find talent where talent is, because he knew he could have done it on his own, and he recognized talent and put Mr. Augustine in place, and then move from there and go forward. But nevertheless,
he has demonstrated, just to interrupt your caller on that point,
Duke
has demonstrated that he has no problem working with bright people, smart people, qualified people, and they have a good educational base behind them. And you take into account now fellas like Fally himself, Dr. Winford James, Fastbot James, and so many other, Dr. Fate, is high quality people, not window dressers, people who seem to be passionate about Tobago and who want to effect change in Tobago. And our party must now want to effect that type of change, at least now in Trinidad, because Tobago already signaled something to us. And then go back to Tobago in 4 years' time with that passion. But once we fail to do that, it must go down in history that this is the worst type of leadership we have ever been exposed to. The worst by the long, telling you, Jesus, oh my dear me. I tell you, interrupting you. My most sincere apologies, sir.
No, but I understand your passion, and that is the same thing everybody's seeing out there. They're seeing the negativity, they're seeing the dispassionate, and the most important thing, the uncaring. They don't care about nobody other than them, but themselves. And the people will treat you that accordingly.
Yeah.
They will treat you that. Imagine you go and put on property tax, you raise gas, and you say wait and say, well, let me hold on.
Yeah.
And I like how you said when the representative comes to you and they ask you for your vote, you have to ask them, what is money? They can't tell them nothing.
No, I'm informing people what to tell them, yes. Because they are now part of a cabinet that has spent the most money in the history of this country. No other government has spent so much money. Tally it up. Every year so far is over $50 billion. Work it out over 7 years and then add all the time when they had to go back to the parliament for more money, like after the first quarter, second quarter, and all that kind of thing, when they need more money, and and they take more and they raise the limit and then they went and borrow money. You add all of that to the equation and the amount of times they took money from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. You add all that up together and you would easily see the money that any other government has spent in this country before fell less than what this government, starting from 2015 to now, has spent. So I'm saying this to say, no MP could continue to tell you they had no money. Because if they do that, ask them, then how come you could be a part of the government that has spent the most amount of money in the history of this country? Then you are not a good representative. So you are part of a cabinet that spent the most amount of money ever in the history of this country, but you couldn't get $1 to help represent the people. This is saying to the constituents, you are in an ocean surrounded by water, but you don't have one drop to drink. That makes sense?
You know about Mali, in the abundance of water, the fool is
thirsty.
That's right.
In the abundance of money, the fool is broken.
Yeah. But that would always continue with these people. They would always continue. Right now, they're targeting Mr. Sher that you brought on the program last week.
Yeah.
So she is right now.
Sher alone. I telling all the time the president of Eastern Credit Union. They started targeting me already. That's how they behave.
Yeah.
That's their behavior. Because I said, if the person I am supporting doesn't run in 2025, you believe how much inspectors they're sending in the decent, wonderful place? They're trying to dig up all kind of things. I wasn't even there so long. And everything they find, it looked like they're trying to put it around my neck like a noose. They're wicked, you know.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, it's you the people who have the power out there. You the people who have the power out there. What they're doing, they're defining themselves to people about how much they love office and how far they will go to hold on to office. I want to warn someone, be careful, They may do worse than that to all,
Of course, I want to digress one bit on something else here.
Go ahead.
I want to speak about the young man who the claim that shot the police officer Romney. How does a person become a suspect? The question is asked. How does a person become not based on evidence and they have compelling evidence to say that the person is supposed to be a suspect? Every citizen in this country ought to be appalled and supposed to have concern over this issue. Because until the autopsy report, he was a prime citizen and no less a person more than the commissioner of police says war to declare on the police service. That's what he said, the Saturday after the event, that the autopsy revealed that he was shot behind his head. Died from a single gunshot bullet.
Yeah.
And so many times we see on social media where people or citizens of this country are being paraded and shown on social media with long gold chain indicating that they are criminals and they are gang people and all kind of thing with no investigation. No investigation. And the only thing that saved this young man, Brother Noray, is that his mother and they ought to gather strength and come and put everything onto social media and ask him and say that he don't want to come in because you fear for your life and what have you. Other than that, he would be a statistic like everybody else, like all those people.
Yeah.
Chances are that he pull a weapon on them.
Yeah, and they would hear some story that he ended up there. And he had a weapon on him, and he was shot, and by the end of that, nobody seems to care. You know why? Because it's not your family involved. And that is a sad situation. There is no investigation taking place.
They rushed him to the medical center or the hospital, but he was pronounced dead.
Dead on arrival. Yeah. And I said, every citizen ought to be concerned how this situation unfolds. Because it could happen to you, it could happen to anybody, it could happen to anybody.
And that would have been such a major miscarriage of justice.
Exactly, and that's the point I'm getting at.
Sad.
Not doing an investigation, and that's a sad state of affairs what we involved in. And people are supposed to take notice of that situation that occurred with that young man, because he was, even if he was there, what did let the evidence show that the only way it could be a suspect. That they said they don't want him for custody again.
Yeah.
That's a sad
He's
situation.
now a state witness. You could imagine that.
Yeah, you can imagine that. Let's chronicle the events, but I know it. and they go see how disturbing that conversation is.
Yeah. No, I heard. I
Yeah?
followed it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, thank you, my brother. We got to go to
all
the
right,
6
take care.
o'clock
Have
news.
a great day. Yeah, take care. Have a great day.
Yeah, thanks for your
Is that time
contribution.
already, Daddy Mac?
Yes, 6
All
o'clock.
right. We'll take 6. When we come back, Daddy Mac, let's run Frenemy and 2 others from him that I like, and then we resume.
Okay, great.
All right, yeah.
Straight to the news. News now at 6 with Sparkle McIntosh.